with a short story that I happen to have along with me that I actually read in the first performance art show I ever did at the Red Lion, actually, in Lincoln Park. And this is called, the CD is based off of this story title, called Seeing Things Differently. I was sitting at Sparrow's Pizza in the mall, taking a break from shopping and eating a slice of deep dish pizza while I caught portions of a conversation happening 2 tables next to me. It was 2:30 in the afternoon, so it was kind of empty in the eatery. "So what's it like to be back?" "What do you mean?" "You know, to be free again. I mean, to be back in the places you haven't been for so long." "Well, of course I missed it. It's strange being back, actually." "How so?" "Well, everything looks different now." "Well, it has been nearly 6 years. A lot happens, even to a suburb. There's been a lot of construction around here, and I don't mean it looks different because it changed. I mean it looks different because I have." "How have you changed?" "Do you mean, how did being in prison for half a decade affect me?" "Well, what do you mean? Like, how do things seem differently? I mean, like, colors look right? I don't get it." "No, it's not like my vision is different, at least not literally. It's just that people seem different to me now. The places all look the same. The street looks the same as the next. It looks the same as it did 5 years ago. But I see things about people now that I never noticed before." "Like what?" "I don't know exactly, but I read people. It's like I know what they're thinking without having to talk to them or even to know them." They both pause. I guess their time pattern of one person eating while the other one talked finally messed up, and they were both eating at the same time. "Oh, did I mention that they were both women? One had a baby in a stroller sleeping next to her. That was the one that didn't go to prison. They both looked like they were about 28 years old. Regular suburban women." "You see, it's like this. When I was in prison, I was all alone. Being in a federal prison means that crimes are big time, so everyone there had a big chip on their shoulder and wanted to have their way with you, or have you for their girlfriend, or beat the shit out of you, or if you were on your laundry duty. And of course, everyone knew that I was the cop killer, and everyone also knew that I swore up and down that I didn't do it. So when I went in there, they all thought that I was some big sissy, and I knew right away that I was going to have to be in big trouble if I didn't do something fast." "So, what'd you do?" "Well, I figured that they knew that I wasn't a tough bitch, or that they knew that I wasn't a tough bitch or anything. So the only person I could put on would be to make people think that they were scared of me, was to act like I was perfectly calm 90% of the time, but tense, like I was about to snap. And periodically I'd have a fit or threaten violence in front of guards, timed perfectly so that I would never actually have to do anything, but enough to make everyone think that I was a little off the deep end or a bit crazy. Then they'd give me some space." "So, did that work?" "Yeah, for the most part. But the first thing I had to learn was how to make my face unreadable." "What do you mean?" "Well, you can see somebody walk by and you know they're bored, or they're sad, or they're angry, or happy, right?" "Well, sometimes." "Well, I had to make sure that when people looked at me, all they saw was a complete lack of emotion, absolute nothingness. I needed people to look at me and wonder what the hell was going through my head. Then all I'd have to do is squint my eyes just a little bit, and everyone would see so much anger in my face, you know, because usually there was nothing in my face to give me away." "And when you got angry?" "And when I got angry, I threw a fit and smashed chairs and screamed at the top of my lungs and contorted my face all over the place. I just looked that much more crazed and in a rage, like out of control." "Wow, that's wild." And I became completely solitary. I talked to 2 other people the whole time I was there, at least in friendship. Wow, 2 people? Well, in a screaming fit or in a fight, then I'd be yelling at the people, at everybody. But yeah, I had to limit the people I actually talked to. Couldn't let others see what I was actually like. So I was sitting there eating my pizza, listening to this, and I remembered, oh yeah, I remember this story from a long time ago. They had convicted a woman of killing a cop, shooting him at point-blank range, and just in the local paper, 3 weeks ago, they found the person that really actually killed the cop. So they let the woman convicted of the crime 5 years ago go free. It seems the cop pulled her over and had her license in his car when the murderer came up in the next car, in another car, and this woman managed to get away, but the cop died, and her license was there on the scene. So I get up and go to the fountain machine to refill my Diet RC Cola. Thank you very much. And came down to my seat, and I just start thinking that that's got to be rough. I mean, going to federal prison for 5 years for a crime that you didn't commit, and then having to come back years later, and then you go out early and you say, oh, we're sorry, we had the wrong person all along. It's like, oh, silly us, we made a mistake. Please do forgive us. But how do you get those years back? And how do you get rid of those memories? So I spaced out on that thought for a minute, and the next thing I knew, they were talking again. And I knew from the start that this one woman didn't like me. I could just tell from her face. We never spoke. She was like my unspoken enemy. And so once I was doing laundry work, and there were rows of machines and tables for folding and sheets for dirty clothes to fall onto the floor, for pipes running along all along the ceilings, and steam coming out all over everywhere. And there were others there with us, you know, and guards too. But once I looked, and it was totally silent, and no one was there except for her. No other prisoners, no other guards, nothing. And she was just standing there, facing me, square on. And she was swaying a bit, like she was getting ready to pounce. And I knew that she planned this, and that she got some of the other inmates to distract guards so that she could kill me.